Hello and welcome. This is the webinar for the 10 steps to take if you can't find your baby's formula during the US formula shortage. My name is Dr. Beata. For those who aren't familiar with me, I am a holistic and integrative doctor of physical therapy, and I help families and their little ones heal holistically by addressing the root causes of colic, eczema, reflux, food allergies, food intolerances, food sensitivities, sensory needs, and more, so that your family can be happier, healthier, and enjoy your time together without the overwhelm, stress, or confusion. So who is this for? This is for you if you are a parent, a mom, a dad, a caregiver, an aunt, a grandparent, anyone who is helping feed a child who is receiving formula. And this is also for you if you are currently breastfeeding, or if there is a child in your life that is breastfed and the mom is thinking of going to formula in the near future, or there are challenges and they are supplementing with formula. This is for you as well. Now, there are many different ways that formula can be administered. So I want to let you know that you can feed formula through a bottle. There are ways such as SNS feeding as well, which is with breastfeeding, which is in the middle picture at the bottom. There is also tube feeding. So there are things like NG tubes on the bottom left is the picture of that, or G tubes in other tubes as well, going directly into the GI system and the lower GI system. And that is the picture on the right here. So I want to celebrate you no matter how you are feeding, whether it is just breastfeeding, just formula feeding, a combination, or a combination with tube feeding as well. And now let's talk about quickly what is happening. So many families all across the country are going to the store to get formula for their children, and they are seeing this. They are seeing empty shelves, and they are worried and stressed because they don't know how they're going to feed their child, feed their baby. Have you come across this? Have you experienced this? Have you seen it in your stores? So this picture in particular, my friend took out on the West Coast in California, and I'm in Connecticut on the East Coast, and it's the same thing. So this is a national emergency. Babies do not have their food. So what my mission is to give you tools, give you strategies, and give you clear action steps so you can feel empowered and know where to look for this formula or other options and alternatives for you and your children. This is my mission, to make sure that no baby goes hungry and that they are well nourished through this time. I am optimistic that the supply of formula will be back here in the US very shortly. However, for this time, it is important that you are able to feed your baby. So this is what this webinar is going to entail. These are 10 steps that I have come up with to help you find formula or other alternatives, and what the steps are to go about those. At the end, I will also be talking about food allergies, because something that is not well known is that when your child is on a specific formula, maybe it is an elemental formula or a hypoallergenic formula, those are actually signs and symptoms that your little one does have food allergies or may have food allergies. So I want to spread awareness of what to look for, what signs and symptoms to look for, and then again, what you can do going forwards from there. And this is a very different approach as well. And I'm curious if you have come across this, that sometimes there are moms who are breastfeeding and come across challenges. Maybe they are experiencing pain when latching, maybe baby is having a difficult time with latching. Maybe they are showing these signs and symptoms of colic or eczema or reflux or allergies. And the only support that they get is the pediatrician, or the only option that they get is the pediatrician saying, okay, well, let's change to formula. I am also here to spread the knowledge that there are many resources to help you. If it is important for you to continue breastfeeding, there are so many options for you, and I will talk about a few of those as well. And especially even if you were breastfeeding in the past and stopped, there are options for you. So I will definitely touch on those going forwards. So let's go ahead and get started with number one. The most, in my opinion, easiest way is to call your pediatrician, your allergist, or your GI, your medical team, and ask to see if they have samples of the formula that you use. And this is really important because, especially if your child has a specific formulation that they need, the pediatricians and allergists and GIs often get samples and they have a stock of these samples. So if you are in a pinch and need a little bit to hold you over, or you just need any, these medical providers may have them in stock for you. So this is your number one resource. Go ahead and call them, ask if they have them, ask if they're getting them, because this can be a really easy way to get a sample or something to hold you over until maybe your order comes in or until you find what you need. Number two is, especially if you use a name brand formula, there are similar formulations even for those sensitive babies and those with allergies. So especially if you have a hypoallergenic or a gentle formula or a sensitive formula, there are other brands that have very similar, if not identical formulations. They may just be a store brand. So I want you to be aware of this, because especially if you are going to the store and you are looking for only one brand, the other brands may be right in the same area and those may be available. Now, this resource, this image here, for those of you who are registered, you will get this resource in a bigger version in your email. And the other thing I did want to mention is that, again, for some of these very sensitive babies, we do want to be aware that the ones that are very sensitive may have a challenging time switching from one brand to the other. So I want you to just be aware of that. And if you do choose to go with a different brand, I want you to be optimistic that your little one will do well with it. And if you do see any of the signs and symptoms of the food allergies, colic, eczema, reflux, etc., again, we'll cover that at the end of this webinar, then I want you to be aware that it may be because of the switch in formula. So I just want you to be aware of that. Now, number three, I want you to see if you can order the formula online and get it shipped to you. This is an option from places like Bye Bye Baby, Target. I've also heard very good things about Instacart. I've heard that they update the stock. So these are definitely options for you. And the nice thing is that they are shipped directly to your house, so you don't have to drive for hours or look at multiple stores and places. Another thing I want to mention here as well is that sometimes these smaller stores may have them. So maybe you are looking at the big box stores, but if you look at the smaller stores in your local area, they may also have formula in stock. So these are just a couple options for you. And the easiest way is to go online, place an order. And I do also want you to be aware of is that at times orders can be canceled after they are placed. So they refund your money. However, I don't want you putting all of your weight on this order that will be coming next week, and then it may not come next week. So I just want you to be aware of that as well. Number four is Amazon. There are options on Amazon. And so if you are in the US, if you search for Amazon today at the time of this recording on May 15th, 2022, you are not going to find many formulas available. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the Amazon page, you can switch your country from US to Canada, and you will find formula available. However, the challenge is that there is no price regulation and there is a possible import tax. The positives of this is that the formula, again, just gets shipped right to your door. However, I personally know families who have paid up to 4 times the regular price of formula because of this price regulation, right? There is no price regulation with Amazon. So I just want you to be aware of that. And if you are, in this place where you are really desperate and need formula, this is an option for you as well. So next is number 5, and this is an underutilized resource. There are Facebook groups that are state specific, which are local families, and they are looking for formula for you and vice versa. So in these Facebook groups, You can go on Facebook and just search your particular state. You can find one for your local area, and you can make a post saying that I need this formula, and you will have other families looking out for you. This is something that I did just the other day in the Connecticut group that I am a part of. Moms take a picture of the available formula in the store that they are in, and the time and the day and the place, and then upload it so that then other families can see what's available without having to drive around and go to multiple stores. So I just want you to know that this is a wonderful option as well. And also you can find moms that maybe if you say, I'm looking for XYZ formula, they may have unopened cans at home, and then you can arrange how to receive that. So this is a wonderful option, and this is a great way how our communities can work together to help each other through this crisis. Now, number 6 is an alternative option. So some of you who may have been breastfeeding in the past, or who may not be able to find specific formulas or the formula that you would like, if you are open to having donated breast milk for your child, for your baby, there are options. There are multiple milk banks, and there are human milk for human babies Facebook groups. Now, these are, again, Facebook groups that are local, and you can find local moms donating breast milk, especially if maybe you were breastfeeding on an elimination diet or on a modified diet. This is a wonderful place where you can find possibly other moms who are modifying or eliminating from their diets in the way that your baby needs as well. So I just want to make this option available. And I absolutely understand that breast milk is not for everyone, and that it is a personal choice for you and your family. So I just wanted to give this option. And again, there are so many moms who are pumping and donating so that, again, babies do not go hungry. Number 7 is goat's milk formulas. Now, there are many of these. There is HIP, Holly, there's a number of other ones, and these are options as well. Now, I do want you to be aware that the goat's milk formulas, especially if your little one needed to be on a special formula that was not a cow's milk formula or had broken down proteins of the cow's milk, your little one may have a challenge with goat's milk as well, because there are some similarities between goat's milk and cow's milk. So I just want you to be aware of that. And before going ahead and switching to goat's milk, I do recommend scheduling a one-on-one consultation with a provider to see if this is appropriate for you and your little one. Another option is fresh goat milk. And again, this is more, the fresh goat milk is more for a temporary time, because just the goat milk as well is lacking in certain nutrients that your child needs. So this is, if you have access to fresh goat milk, then it is an option for a short period of time. Again, before you do this, I do recommend having a one-on-one consultation with a provider to see if this is appropriate for you and your little one. Now, number 8 is if you are really in a pinch and baby is over 6 months of age, you can give cow's milk as a substitute for formula for a short period of time. Now, there are a number of things that we need to be mindful with this. Baby must have been able to tolerate a regular cow's milk formula. And again, they need to be over 6 months of age. The other key piece here is that this is really only for a short period of time. So this is not something that is for the long term. And there is a range. What I will recommend just globally is maybe for a day or two to have this cow's milk substitute. So this is, again, if you're in a pinch, if you are waiting for an order or something like that, and baby is over 6 months of age, then you can give cow's milk for a short period of time. Now, as you are doing this as well, you are still looking out for signs and symptoms of food allergies. So again, we'll go through those at the end. Number 9 is for the moms who maybe have breastfed in the past, want to breastfeed now, or who maybe haven't breastfed in the past but want to. I want you to know that there are many options for you. So if you are already breastfeeding And maybe you are being told that you have a low supply and need to supplement with formula. But I want you to know that there are ways that you can help to increase your supply, and there are so many resources available for you. The other thing I want to mention is that breastfeeding is a personal choice. It works for some families and it doesn't work for others, and that is okay. I respect your choices and your judgment, and there are many other factors that go into breastfeeding. Mom's emotional, mental, physical health. There are many reasons why moms may or may not be able to breastfeed. So, and again, like we mentioned earlier, food allergies. Maybe there was certain food allergies through breast milk, and mom is not able to maintain a diet for her health or for other reasons. That is okay. And I validate that completely. I just want to give this resource for the parents, for the moms who do want to breastfeed. So there are many challenges to breastfeeding. Myself personally, I have experienced many, and I have helped dozens of other families through these challenges as well. Now, the resources that can help, the number one resource is someone called an IBCLC. These are internationally board certified lactation consultants, and there are various levels of lactation education. So these IBCLCs are the highest level of education. They are available globally and internationally. So I recommend following up and finding one where you can work closely together to increase your supply. Now, something that is important at the same time is that maybe you are looking at using different pumping strategies or other strategies to increase your supply with a lactation consultant. I also want you to be aware of that you want to take care of your own nourishment and nutrition as a breastfeeding mom. This is equally as important, because if we are not nourishing our own bodies, then there will be challenges with breast milk production, supply, and we want to nourish ourselves so that we can nourish our little ones. So it is really crucial that you do get nutrition care and customized care and plans of care for you as a mom, as a breastfeeding mom, especially if you are experiencing challenges. Now, specifically, if you have found that you needed to go on an elimination diet or modify your diet in order to breastfeed, then I absolutely need you to work with a provider going forwards, a provider who is knowledgeable about breastfeeding moms and how to help them through the process, and to make sure, again, that mom is well nourished on this journey. So for those of you who are registered for this webinar, you will get in your email a resource that will include highly preferred providers and highly recommended preferred providers for you as well. Okay, so number 10, these are what not to do. So I do not recommend watering down formula, ever. The reason why is that when we water down formula, when we increase the water to formula ratio, we are changing the electrolyte balance of that formula. And that is dangerous for your baby, for your little one. So I do not ever recommend doing that. I also don't recommend homemade formula recipes unless you are working with a skilled provider. The reason being is the picture below. So this picture I saw circulating around on the internet, and it is a homemade baby formula recipe from 1960. This recipe is dangerous. There are missing nutritional components in here, and honestly, I'm not quite sure who created this formula, and this is inadequate nutrition for your baby. So if you find just a formula online and you follow it, you may be putting your baby in danger. When we look at homemade formulas, there are possible options. However, we need to make sure that it is age appropriate and that there is adequate nutrition in here. So you need to be working with a skilled provider that can work closely with you on this. This is not something that you can Google a recipe and just follow. So I want you to know that. And again, I don't recommend these homemade formulas, again, unless you're working with someone closely. So now we've gotten to the part of the signs and symptoms of food allergies. And this is really important to me because part of my mission is helping to spread awareness of food allergies. Many parents may not know that some of these things that they see and that are categorized as colic, eczema, reflux are really a type of food allergy, and that there are multiple possible root causes or underlying reasons for the things that they are seeing, so that we cannot jump to conclusions and say that it is a food allergy without proper care. So let's go through some of the things that you may be seeing, and this comes into play, especially if any baby is breastfed or formula fed, and especially if they're experiencing these things normally or with a switch in formula. So if you end up going with a different brand and you see these things, these are signs and symptoms that this may be a food allergy that you are dealing with. And the next step is to work closely with a provider to help you figure these out. I also want you to know that there are multiple different kinds of food allergies. So there are things called IgE allergies, which are more well known, and there are non-IgE allergies. And these are the ones that are less known and that we commonly call colic or eczema or reflux. So let's go ahead and just start with digestive issues. So digestive issues can range from excessive gas. So excessive gas, farting, maybe baby is really uncomfortable when they're passing gas. And this is a constant problem. This is something that is going on often, not just once in a while. And this can also be constipation. So if your little one, no matter if they are breastfed or formula fed, if they are not having a bowel movement at least bare minimum once every 3 days, then they are constipated. And again, that can be a sign of a food allergy. The flip side of that is diarrhea. So if your little one, again, doesn't matter breastfed or formula fed, is having more than 6 bowel movements a day, and or, right, we can say and or they are loose, and baby may have pain when they are happening and they are very liquidy or explosive. If there are many of those, that again is a sign, possible sign of a food allergy. Other things that you can see from the digestive system are gurgling, again, just discomfort and pain, and that can be called colic. So again, these are possible signs and symptoms, and I don't want you to jump to a conclusion that it is a food allergy, because there are other possible root causes to rule out first. So I just want to spread awareness about this. The next thing is fussiness. So fussiness is often called colic. So a child who is crying for hours every day, who is not comfortable no matter what you do, who needs to be bounced for hours, who is just generally uncomfortable. You can tell that they are not happy. This is your baby communicating to you. And again, it may be signs and symptoms of a food allergy or other things that we want to rule out as well. Same thing with worsened sleep. There are ranges of normal. So with sleep, our babies, biologically, it is normal for them to wake up often at night. Now, the difference is that when they wake up screaming in pain, that is not normal. When they wake up every 15 to 20 minutes, that is not normal. If they are extremely restless during sleep, that is not normal as well. So again, these are things to pay attention to, and to if this resonates with you, I encourage you to dig deeper and find a provider that can work with you to identify and address the root causes. The other things that we want to look for are rashes. So skin changes like eczema or hives, those kind of skin changes are things that may be signs of food allergy as well. Now, especially if your baby has hives, I need you to go see your urgent care or ER if there are hives that come up, especially with switching formula, and you will need care of an allergist. So that is something that I absolutely recommend if you are seeing that. Now, at the same time, there are other conditions, skin conditions that can mimic, let's say, eczema, that again, you want a provider to be able to see and make an assessment of your child and make a diagnosis. Now, for things like eczema, they are common, but it does not mean that they are normal. So what this means is that there is an underlying reason, there is a root cause for eczema. And by addressing and identifying that root cause, we can have resolution of symptoms and signs. This also means that often you will get a steroid cream for eczema, which is okay, right? We want to help the skin inflammation come down. We want to help baby feel better. They may be itchy, they may be uncomfortable. And I want you to know that that is a very short-term solution. And there are many other things that you can do, again, to identify and address the root causes of the eczema and not just apply this Band-Aid solution to it. The other thing to look out for is vomiting. So any vomiting, excessive vomiting, especially after a switch of formula, is a possible sign of a food allergy. Same thing with reflux. So reflux can look like excessive spitting up. It can also look like baby arching their back, often being very uncomfortable. Those are things to look out for. And really, we want to look at the whole clinical presentation of your child and see what are the changes. If it was a new formula that you gave and these popped up, then again, that helps with the diagnosis of a food allergy. And you really want to work one-on-one with a provider and possibly an allergist, especially if you are seeing signs of these hives, the other signs of anaphylaxis I'll mention as well, that are dangerous and you need to see urgent care or get to an emergency room as soon as you can, are where baby may be changing colors to looking blue. That is a lack of oxygenation. They may be having airway constriction, difficulty catching a breath, difficulty crying even. They may have the hives. They may have a sense of like panic, and you can see this in a baby as well. So these are just a couple examples of times when you absolutely need urgent care and you need emergency treatment. And what I want to let you know is that there are holistic solutions to these signs and symptoms that you're seeing. And I absolutely recommend working one-on-one with a provider to create a plan that is specific to you and your little one going forwards. Because often I've worked with many families where the mom goes on Dr. Google and looks for information on there. And the problem with that is, or maybe you're on these Facebook groups and you get information from there. The problem is that that is just one person's experience. And like I mentioned before, there are many possible underlying reasons, underlying root causes to what you're seeing. So unless you're working with a provider who is specialized and skilled in this to work through the steps with you, then you may be jumping to conclusions and doing things that you may not need to do. So this is also the time that I want to mention that when you're seeing these things, if you are a breastfeeding mom, elimination diets are not the first thing that I want you to do. So again, working with a provider to make sure that you're not jumping ahead and doing more than you need to, and increasing the stress of your life and your family's life. So I highly, highly encourage you, if you are seeing these things, work closely with a provider, get custom care, custom guidance that is specific to you. And that is how my approach is different as well. With holistic solutions, we look at all of the root causes and we go through a root cause analysis. So what that means is we identify the problem, we understand the problem, we identify the root causes, we make adjustments, and then we monitor the system. And working closely together, we go through those steps multiple times, as many times as we need to, because there may be multiple root causes as well. And once we address the root causes, then we do get resolution of signs and symptoms, and our little ones do feel better. So I want to give you hope. I want to empower you that there are things that you can do. So I hope that this top 10 list was helpful for you. I hope that you feel that these are easy and actionable steps that you can go ahead and start doing right now. And I want you to feel empowered that there are ways to feed your baby, formula, breastfeeding, otherwise. Again, especially if you are interested in starting to relactate, that is another mini course that I'll be doing in the near future. So I will share resources with you as well, because there are so many options and I do not want to see any babies going hungry with this formula shortage. It is devastating for the families, and my heart absolutely goes out to you, and I want to help as much as I can. So my name is Dr. Beata Harashim. Again, I am a holistic and integrative doctor of physical therapy, and I am here if you have questions, and I will be creating more of these mini courses going forwards. So I look forward to connecting with you, getting to know you and your little ones. And if there are any specific topics that you would absolutely like more information about, please let me know, and I can gear more of my mini courses towards that to help specifically help you in the areas where you need the most help as well. So as always, I wish you and your little ones all the best, and I will see you soon.